being here. Let's do a quick round of intros, as we always do. I'm J.D. Miller, Chair. I'll go.
Linda Kelly, Director of the Scituate Senior Center.
No, going that
We're
way.
going that way.
Lucille Saracino, I'm with Social Day Coordinator.
Pat Calvin, board member.
Leslie James, board member. T. Dwyer, board member.
Kenzie Vanderbrook here representing South Shore Elder Services.
Elaine Shamari, the FOSS coordinator.
Russ Paul, board member.
Welcome all. Thank you again. I think your packet has some meeting minutes from May 9th. You can take a minute to review and see if there are any changes, edits, comments, corrections that needed to be done. Anyone have any edits, comments? Pat, thank you as always for that. I would like to move to approve the May minutes. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Leslie. Well, we have a guest here from the staff, so we'll hear from Lucille so she can maybe make her exit. You can.
Thank you so much. All right, Pat doesn't have any, and doesn't take any notes. I took care of it, but I have notes here for everybody if they want, okay? Okay, so hi everybody, Lucille Sorrentino. I am the coordinator for the Social Day program. Presently we have 10 participants. We meet on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9:30 to 2:30 p.m. We have 9 participants. We have 6 males and 4 females, and most of them come every day, and 2 of them come one day each. Anyway, starting Friday, we have some good, Friday, July 11th, we're putting on a new day, a shorter day. That day will be 9:30 to 12:30. I believe there are 10 on the wait list, so myself and Kelly Walsh, outreach coordinator, we're in the process of interviewing some of the potential participants.
Can I interrupt? Hours again, 9:30 to 12:30?
That's going to be 9:30 to 12:30.
On Friday?
On the Friday.
Got it.
9:30 to 12:30. I'll give you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. They won't be getting lunch because, there's no lunch that day anyway, but, and there is a wait list, as Linda knows, exactly. So, the other day we met with 2 families, and I think they're gonna come in, 2 gentlemen. There are 2 people that come Monday, one comes Monday, one comes Wednesday. They want an extra day, and practically everybody that comes in on Monday and Wednesday wants that extra day.
Really? Yeah.
But
Makes
Linda was great in her fairness, and she just said, we have people waiting on wait lists, let's give them a shot too. So that's where we're at, and that's gonna start the 11th of July. And the person who's going to take over for that day, her name is Alex, and she's in the kitchen, she works in the kitchen, but she's been helping me every Wednesday. And she's very, very very good with them, very tuned in. So she's excited, she wants it too. And she might even help me again on Wednesday. I said to her, she wants to come. So that's happening. So, you know, they enjoy socialization and mental and physical stimulation programming. And those programs include music, art, crafts. Monday, we're going to Horster Farms. We have a field trip
Nice.
set up. Oh, yeah, they're all excited about that.
Nice.
Actually, some of the volunteers said, "Can you put me on?"
Yeah.
I said, "No." And then someone else said, "See if you can get the bus that date." I said, "No, you can't." And then we're going next month. We're going to do it again next month because I try to keep it even for both the Monday and the Wednesday groups. Besides the field trips, you know, we have the news, anything that's happening, programs like quizzes and trivia, various assorted competitive games, and the various exercise programs. I'm into the exercise programs. I like to get them up moving, and some of the ones we've been doing so far, well, we're doing physical movement, weights, dancing, chair yoga. Our friend here does Tai Chi for us once a month, which we appreciate. It's great, they like it, okay? And we have in-house bowling when I have extra help, and we also have gone out to the bocce court, so depending on the weather, and extra volunteers, because we're outdoors, and sometimes it's busy. So we're doing that. For eye-hand coordination, we do darts, we do cornhole, we do table shuffleboard out in the game room, we do marbles, puzzles, bingo. And recently we've added two new games, and one of them is a adult ring toss, and that's a hard thing. Believe it or not, it looks easy, but it's not easy. And it was very frustrating for them the other day, and one of the girls got up and she took the ring and just put it on.
Right.
That was
Janet, I'm gonna get it one way or the other.
absolutely, and they all applauded. That was really a good one. And the thing that I was really moved by was we also that game, and we have a putting green which came from Foss. They asked which one, and I said sure. Well, that's very sweet because in the group we have about maybe four golfers, and to see them get up to that green and hold the putter correctly, stand up straight, it was very impressive. It's a very good program for them. So with that's in. Another thing that I thought this was an interesting one. On a Monday, this gentleman, they like music and they like dancing and whatever. So when the music came on Monday, this gentleman who gets up, and he usually has his own moves. This was funny. He came up to me and he took my hand, and he was twirling me around and looking down at his feet, and I thought, this is odd. Well, I spoke to his wife, and she said on the Saturday she went to that dance program.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The bone.
Right, and they must have given lessons or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting to think that there was Saturday night and here was Monday, and he was remembering that.
He had that.
Awesome.
It was very,
That's
very
awesome.
cool, very,
Was
very.
anybody else there? I mean, I was there.
Say that-
Was anybody here there?
Was anybody at that dance? Oh, I didn't either, but his wife said he had a wonderful time, so I thought that
I
was
think
good.
that was great that they came and she brought him, and, they were
Yeah.
separated, so, the leaders, as opposed to calling them the men, it was the leaders on one side learning the step,
Yeah.
and then the followers.
So did they get lessons? Actually, they must have gotten lessons or something,
They,
right?
they gave instruction, they gave very good basic instruction, they broke it down, and then you get together and did some dancing with it, so it was funny.
Well, he was twirling me around, and usually he does his own thing, so that was very cool. So anyway, that was one of the things that was really impressive. The other thing was they like music very, very much, and I asked Fred downstairs, the chef, to come and play some music for us. And so he came with his guitar, and he gave us an hour's worth. I mean, he sang Denver's, and they were just very intrigued. And this woman that's not even she's nonverbal practically. She put her arm around me and she said, "Isn't this nice?" So it was beautiful. It was a wonderful moment. So, I think they're having a good time, you know, it's, you kind of meet them where they are that moment, meet them at their level. So that's what's happening with our activities. Let's see. We also, you know, I don't mention, you know, we do the cornhole and all that jazz. We go over to the game room. Community activities. The families are very involved in as much as they ask for, you know, can I bring a treat? Can I bring art supplies? One of them comes about, I want to say every 6 weeks, and does either a presentation or a craft. They're very grateful. I think the families are very happy that their loved ones are happy too. You know, so that's important. One of them last week was telling us, one of the participants was telling us about something that she did, and I wasn't quite getting what it was. Well, it was a needlepoint type of thing. And I said, why don't you bring it in? It was very impressive. It was very impressive, but that gave her a chance to reminisce about why she started it and what she was doing, and the family put it in a frame. That's how beautiful it was. So that was good. So that, you know, you try to get their memory to remember wonderful things that went on in their life. So that's what we did. That went over very well. Let's see. Let me see. Discussion. We have we still, which is, it's a good thing. EPIC, which is a memory. They have a memory impairment. They're over in Hingham. They're called Bridges of Epic.
Yep.
They come faithfully once a month, and they bring fresh flowers. We'll do flower arrangements, or whatever the theme of the month is, they'll do that. And I'm finding out that some of our members that need a higher level of care will head over there, you know, see what they have to offer. So it's a good win-win. It's a win-win situation. Let's see. Oh, and when Epic comes in, and these are beautiful flower arrangements, fresh flowers, they're very proud to bring it home to their spouse or something. So that's working out very well. I just want to say, you know, the goal for us is to just enrich their lives like we're doing. A lot of movement. There's a lot of camaraderie between them. They cheer each other on. You could get it, you know, that type of thing. They get to know each other. They're having some kind of conversation. They go down to the dining room. You have to always be on the alert, because as soon as they go downstairs, they think they're going to go out and go home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And then there's a time. I've worked in a nursing home. I've worked in rehab, and you know, rehab around 3 p.m. is sort of sundowning. Well, we get it here about 2 p.m. You know, they start looking out the window. So you have to be very alert. So we definitely need 2 people. Sometimes even 3 is pretty good too. Anyway, those are my goals, is that, you know, we just continue enriching their lives, giving the caregivers, that's a biggie. The caregivers are very grateful for that little respite that they have, those 5 hours, you know, when we're with them. And they know that when they go home, they've had a good day, they're tired. They do love dancing. Oh my Lord, I get worried because even the ones that have a cane get up and forget the cane and they're dancing. I'm thinking, this is going to be, I better watch out. They better watch out. Anyway, we have a good time. It's fun, and I love what I'm doing, so I think they're pretty good. They're having a good time too.
Good.
Now, any questions?
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
How many are gonna come on Friday?
Well, it's still going to be 8. I have 9 on Mondays and Wednesdays just because we have a couple, we didn't want to, you know, break them up. But it'll be 8 people, and she'll have to have someone helping her. We do have it's working very well. We have an intern, and she loves it. I think she wants to be a social worker.
She does.
Yeah, so she's helping on a Wednesday, and she offers to help on a Friday too.
But it'll be the same format, it's just shorter, so it's just a shorter amount of
Say that
time.
again?
Same format, so
Yeah.
same numbers, same,
Yeah.
you know,
And
ratio.
Ratio.
And because it's a different group, she could, you know, usually use what I'm using. I change because I have the same group Monday and Wednesday. I don't want to repeat it, but she can, it's a different group. Maybe 1 or 2 will be the same. So that's about it. What else? Any questions? Any other questions?
How did bocce go?
Bocce went, well, some of them do very well, but some of them didn't want to do it at all. You know, they were tired or afraid. One of them, the ones with the cane are usually worried.
Mhm.
And, then one of them saw somebody they knew, and they left the group and went there, so,
Yeah.
so you gotta keep
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
safe.
So they think they,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thought they knew them.
So anyway, yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I'm very happy with the golf, with the putting, you know. And it's a great little thing because when it goes through, and if they get that hole, that ball comes back to you. So this is kind of cool. You know, I'm not scrambling for the balls.
It's definitely a program that we can be proud of and has
Yes.
been just so well developed and well done, and it's,
Thank
you know,
you.
a tribute. We were lucky, and they feel fortunate.
Well, I think, you know what I think, Linda, I think that we are doing a service to the community.
We are.
They're very,
Yeah.
the caregivers are extremely grateful. What else can we do for you? Do you need this? Do you need that? Yeah, it works very well. It's a win-win.
everybody on Friday a Scituate resident, or?
No, well, we don't know. I don't know what's on the
We haven't
list.
done that, and,
I mean, I'm
No.
not advocating to make it exclusive,
Well, right,
but. I'm
but
just
right
asking.
now, we have a Cohasset, we have a
Okay.
Norwell. We have someone that moved to Linden Ponds, but they still wanna come
They wanna
to
come on?
us. And then we have Scituate.
yeah, I mean, we haven't really had to do that.
Yeah,
I think
good.
we've considered doing that
Yeah,
on occasion,
right.
if we had to choose between one or the other, but
Right.
not really.
Right, Good.
Yeah.
So,
So, thank you.
Good.
Anything else?
no, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well done.
Lloyd. Thank you.
Keeps you busy Mondays and Wednesdays,
I'm
doesn't it?
exhausted, I'll tell you that.
And I would be too, I mean, yeah, I would be
You
too.
know,
as
yeah,
well.
You're on the whole time.
You're on the whole
You're on
time,
the whole
exactly.
I mean, it's nice to get a speaker or
Yeah.
a guest or something else that someone else manages a little bit, because then she's not.
Yeah, but we, you know, that's happening a little bit, you know.
And lunch is good, because really it is,
Yeah.
bringing them more into the community here, as
Yeah.
opposed to just having them holed up in their room together. So
But
it's,
it's,
I think that works.
I mean, I'm
They,
pleased to
they
hear
know
that
people and they get to talk to them.
they're coalescing themselves. They're
Absolutely.
connecting with each other, which is nice.
absolutely, it's a very congenial group, they support each other.
Yep.
Like I said, even with the ring toss, what a great idea, we'll all do this, you know. Anyway, we have a good time.
Very good, Lucille.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
If you need notes, they're right
Good to hear
there.
from
Okay.
you, and thanks for doing that report.
Yeah.
That's great. I'll take it.
See you tomorrow.
See you
Yeah.
tomorrow. Everyone knows what tomorrow is, right? I think it's
Volunteer
coming.
appreciation lunch.
We're
Thank you.
ready, we didn't realize.
I appreciate that.
Well, we'll hand it over to Linda here.
Thank you.
We realized only at the last minute, I was planning to cancel the not cancel, I was planning to move the 9 o'clock exercise class, which is a big one, and Sarah Lannon is now doing it. Sue had given it up on Friday mornings, 9 to 10, with the weightlifting, Lift Your Spirits. But I forgot that when we first put that in, it was with the understanding that, well, we have yoga upstairs, so if we need that room, we would have to cancel the class. Well, I kept thinking we could just move it upstairs until about 4 o'clock today. And then I realized we can't move it upstairs, and now it's really too late to cancel, because that's not nice. So we will be scurrying to do that side of the room from 10 to 11:45 when you guys get there.
Oh.
Just listen.
I'm sorry, I missed, what's the scurrying for what?
For the volunteer lunch tomorrow,
Oh,
Just a multi-purpose room.
because we're using it in the morning for exercise as well, which we didn't cancel. So that's just one of those things that sometimes gets away. Otherwise, it'll be great. A nice lunch by Fred, as you know, and Steve will be playing the piano starting at about 11:45. Anyway, just the usual, new members coming in all the time, 35 for May. I think it's probably up. And I didn't ask anyone for more than May, so some of the most of the numbers you're seeing, or I may talk about, are for May. And then when we meet in August, we can make a point of adding June and July together.
Okay.
And, the building is still being used. I did have a question from the guy who's chair of the Lincoln Mordecai Committee, and he was just coming in and curious because they are looking at, as they're rehabbing, I guess, the Lincoln Mordecai building. He was just wondering if there were unmet needs here that they could say maybe could be met using that property once they opened it up. And I really had to say outside of private use that we don't really do, we don't rent it. Basically, we don't rent it, as you know, and you know, so people wanting to use it for their own private needs, we usually have to say no, even if it was, even memorial services, things like that, that would seem to align with us, but it's a big event.
Yeah.
So, it involves food and sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, permits and things, so
Yeah.
we don't do it. But that's the one area I could say, because otherwise we try to do everything. Anyway, so that's all I could say to him about that, but I thought it was nice of him to ask. It was a good idea for him to ask and just see what maybe we weren't doing that somebody else could do. We did, it was a banner month, and I mean, and for a sad reason, but Ian Mullen's family put us as the beneficiary of donations in her name, in her honor. So we received actually over $8,000 in donations, which is amazing.
8,000?
Yes, there were a few very generous ones and then others also generous. So, so the select board also knows because the check, of course, is made out to the senior center. So they deposited into our gifts and donations account. So the select board received those. And so we are planning, somebody asked what we could do, not to say using all of the money, which obviously we can use in any way that we would like. But also we want to honor her a little bit, so we're going to add a garden and maybe a tree, something, and I'm even thinking about the entrance because she was very helpful in always looking at some sort of, you know, kind of artistic or beautification thing, so I think she would like that. So we'll add something and have a plaque in her honor for that, something in the grounds. Well, and then a little bit later in my report, you'll see we did hire or are using J. Michael Landscaping to beautify the grounds. It's just, I mean, we've had wonderful volunteers, Leslie being one, and I mean, anyone else I could probably even talk about. So a few, maybe more, you know, Gordon's tried to, in a few past years, get weeders together, and they've done it, but it's a lot, and they can't possibly do it enough.
Well, we're all getting too old.
And it's really too much
Every 3 weeks
to
they
ask.
reappear.
And then I came here one Sunday with, you know, three other women or 4, I don't know. And it was just hard. A consensus is hard. What are we doing next? Which should we do? It was a lot, and I just saw, wow, we should not be doing this. We can't rely. It's terrible, and it's hard. So they did a great job in the heat, and they will continue to do a monthly, you know, ground maintenance for us, and it's well worth it. So we are using donation money for that. Why not? And I think it's well spent. You know, I think that's a good area to spend the money. And we'll just keep our eye on it. And also the woman who, from the beautification committee, that put in those beautiful, the lily assortment, right? She really does tend to that garden, but she was even coming in to say, like, they're encroaching, the weeds are encroaching on my beautiful garden. So I had to do it for her too. I mean, it was just too much. So anyway, it looks great, and we will continue to keep that up. Also, just in terms of donations, it was very nice. We had, you know, been asked and loaned the van, I would have said, to the Greenbush Committee for their Come to Greenbush Day,
Mhm.
so they could shuttle people from parking in the train station parking lot down to Greenbush. And so Tom was willing to drive, and we've done that before with other groups, but anyway. So they may have even asked, you know, do you want a donation? And I probably said, well, $50 or $100, whatever. But they gave us $5, which was a lot, and very nice of them. And that was, so I did want to mention that they did that. And a surprise trust donation was just received. So a woman had passed away in April, and I didn't know I got this stack kind of from the lawyer for her trust with a W-9, and I honestly did not know it until I actually read, and then found that we were receiving $1,000 from that trust, so that was nice. Oh, and also the Shine office didn't name, last year they gave us $3,000 from, you know, the agency, so to speak, and they didn't say how much this year, but it's just to support costs of running the program. So we will be getting something by it's like before the end of the year, June 30th, they have money that they can give to everybody.
Great.
So I may be thinking 1,000, but I don't know. So also, both the middle school student artwork and then Lynn Ray, who has been our exhibitor downstairs, they had receptions and they were very nice, maybe small, but still nice, because always someone says, if not more than one or two people, oh, I haven't been in here yet, oh, this is beautiful, it's nice to see it, I haven't come, you know, there's always some nice reason that someone has come in for that exhibit that I think will come back to us and be a positive thing, so that's nice. The couple that are exhibiting next time, Tony and Dorothy Pila. Tony was a teacher for a long time, and I knew him in Duxbury, and he used to do survey courses, classes that everybody loved. He was just so energetic and like would stand on desks and tables and things. He was great. So he's an artist himself, and his wife is a photographer that also is an artist. So they are exhibiting for July and August. So I think it'll be a little different. People will like it. And then for September and October, if anyone is an artist or knows an artist, we've done the open call exhibit every year. But publicity is always hard. So we have our, community here, but we'd like to get the word out and hopefully maybe increase the number of pieces that we get, which would be nice. So we do have a handout downstairs and a flyer, and a form for people to use to submit their application. It's not a juried show, we just want to make sure it's in keeping with the requirements or the parameters. But it's not juried, and it can be any medium. And if it needs to be framed, it needs to be able to hang, that's what we ask. So that is coming up. And then as Lucille said, and I'm glad she was able to be here today to talk about it because it's pending right now, but yes, I'm very happy about the new half-day. And it's something maybe we talked about, and I will say, the Friday morning was selected because this room is needed, and it's fairly heavily used, and we give it up Monday and Wednesday for the program, but we can't give it up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know what I mean? And Friday's a good day because it's a lighter day, even though the mornings here are busy, I guess primarily with exercise, but there's still room for something, and where we didn't have to worry about it also including lunch or a full day. I just thought it was a good way to add the people from the wait list, frankly, or add additional recipients of the program, not the same ones.
Right.
As Lucille said, many of them have ended up with both days.
Yep.
Save a couple, with a couple of exceptions, who, because they don't have 2 days on the Monday, Wednesday, we may allow them into the Friday morning. It's really supposed to be a feeder. While they wait for the full day, they have this. And I might have liked 9 to 12, but 9:30 to 12:30 is fine. And I suppose we need to think about some kind of snack food, which they do anyway when they're here for the full day. But I think it will work. We thought Alex was a good choice. So we did ask if she was interested, and she was. And then Lucy as the intern, it seems to be a nice team. Kelly also is stepping in, and she has been, because she did do the program in between Jen and Lucille. And she is the backup, or has been the backup for Lucille. So the other nice thing about perhaps Alex doing this is that she could also be the backup when needed, and Kelly if she needs backup. But they're doing more of the interviewing and just making sure people are fit and at the right level for the rest of the group. So that's been great. And I will also say, so Kelly submitted and received just the other day confirmation of a $20,000 grant through MCOA, which is for this program. So we've been paying for the program really out of the user fee for, let's say, mostly Lucille's salary, plus we have a budget for games or entertainment or any sort of field trip or anything we need for the program. And we had a donor that I proposed to use, but of course the select board felt, well, at some point that's finite and that would run out. But we've basically been sustaining the program, I say. But now the extra, and also just the idea that we could also add some memory cafes where they could invite the caregivers in, have some maybe bigger style activities and programs and events that are inclusive. So that's the idea, and she wrote a very good and excellent grant application, so I'm surprised she
That's
got it.
terrific. Russ?
Just wanted to mention, there's a new radio station in town, are you familiar with them?
No?
I feel like I've heard this, but I don't, you can tell us, because I don't know.
They're local, they can only transmit
Mhm.
8 miles,
Mhm.
but they're here in Scituate. So they
Mhm.
cover the town of Scituate and a little bit of Marshfield
Mhm.
and a little bit of Norwell.
Do you remember what they're called?
I have his business card, but I didn't bring it with me, but I can give it to you.
Yep.
And
have.
I mentioned it because I was chatting with him and I suggested that it might be interesting if he came and actually did his broadcast from here
Well, yeah.
and he could play music.
Yeah,
And so
Yeah.
it might fit in a little bit with what you're talking about, is
very
a
nice.
cafe where you have music and stuff and
Yeah.
they're actually broadcasting and
Yeah.
interviewing the people. who are here.
Broadcasting live from the Scituate
Yeah,
Citizen.
when did this happen?
No, I
It's
did.
pretty new.
Yeah.
Wow,
They're small, it's like 103.1,
Okay.
something like that.
Is
And-
Scituate only 8 miles?
Yeah, they have just, their antenna is on the North River.
Situate's more than 8 miles.
Yeah, some parts of Scituate won't get it.
No, 102.1 is gonna be enough.
Is it 8 miles to North Scituate? I don't know.
Mm.
I know I get it in my house, but I don't know.
wow, that's news.
It is something to look into, and also.
It's a husband and wife team, and they're a nonprofit. And they just put this together, I don't know, it's sometime back. And the introduction for me was, I saw them at the harbor one day,
Mhm.
and I was like, wow, what a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's really, and that's why I know I have some memory back here of, maybe I met them. I don't know. But anyway, I'll meet them again, and that is great, Russ. Thanks for mentioning it, I think that's great. So anyway, kudos to Kelly for that too, and I think there's a lot we can do with it now, with the money, of course, over the next year. So the appreciation tomorrow, we have 70 or so people coming out of 115 invitations or volunteers, I guess, on the books, so to speak. Also on the, little too close together, feeling like we were doing the volunteer luncheon in June, which is probably a week later than we usually do.
Yep.
And we opted to do the July 4th sort of celebration on July 1st, because it was a Tuesday, it's a lighter day, and it was close to the holiday otherwise. But now they're smack dab
Yeah, no,
together.
right, exactly.
Really, Fred's like, what did we do that? So let me just mention July 1st, so it is a lunch. We have some constraints, right? We do lunch, and the kitchen can only do lunch for so many people, as much as we occasionally try to open it up. So it's opened up to do more than usual, but not a ton, obviously, so somewhere between 68 and 72. But then we have entertainment, and it's supposed to be a party, so people can come to the entertainment, which is starting at 12:30, which is closer than usual instead of 1, just because let's try to mesh the lunch people and the other people and just keep it casual. So I hope it works, is all I'm saying. I mean, you try,
Are
you
you
try.
serving outside or?
Well, no, and that's the other thing, like, I truly wanted to do an outdoor picnic barbecue. I mean, I wanted to, we used to do it at the other building, but I don't know if people loved it, and we probably did end up moving it in, because maybe people didn't love the outdoors. So, and it's hard to serve outdoors, or
Yeah.
to seat outdoors, so then it's back indoors. And then the entertainment, truly, I would have put them outdoors, and then that would have been a little easier, but she preferred indoors, and so that's fine. It's her
That's
first
instead
time
of the daily
coming.
lunch,
Pardon me?
instead of the daily lunch?
It is the daily
Is
lunch,
it?
I mean, it is a lunch, it just happens to be barbecue food, and celebrating July 4th, and entertainment, so they're sharing the room. We will set up extra table seating, for people to just come in for the entertainment, and she's good, by the way, I really like her, and she's coming with a great guitarist and a drummer. So, it'll be fun, she's an original sort of singer-songwriter, folk, but Americana, and really just.
What's her name
She's
again?
great, and I think you really will like her.
What's her name?
Lisa Sheldon,
Lisa Sheldon.
lives in Duxbury. So anyway, that's that, just to explain a little bit about the logistics
Yeah.
for trying to make things, available and
Because there were 30 people on the waiting list.
for lunch, right, so, you know, are those 30 people, if they don't get lunch, coming? We would like to know that. At this point, we now have a second event, which you understand, of course, set up for just entertainment, so we can maybe know that we can accommodate. And hey, otherwise it's standing room, and you know, people do that at bars all the time, so
And
maybe
it's-
not here all the
and it's
time?
a men's breakfast in the book club.
No, there's not.
Oh, they got moved to the,
It did.
oh.
So in the newsletter, which you all received, so thank you for reading, it just came today. We did move the men's breakfast to the 8th because the 1st is too quick to do things.
Too quick and crowded.
So anyway, I just thought maybe you'd like to hear a little bit about how it's not easy sometimes to make it all work, but we want kind of the idea of a celebration that everybody can enjoy when lunch is just this lunch. I don't know. So, always working on it. We did, another logistical, you know, sort of new thing was the Saturday, June 7th event with the Ballroom Dance Studio. And there was some idea that we would really pack the place, right? So the idea that maybe there'd be 75 people coming, well, you know, thankfully not. 50 we did get to, and that was, you know, that was a gradual increase. Because we were a little nervous when it was 15, but still, it would have all worked out. But we did get 50, and we did get plenty of, you know, partners, men, I mean, people didn't need to come as a couple. There was some women, you know, women leading and following, but there was still men to go around. And they did mix it up quite a bit, so really loved the 4 instructors that came. 2 of them are the owners of the agency and lovely people whom I have met because I'm a ballroom dance dropout. But we loved it, but it's a lot, it's a commitment, and it's just hard to make that commitment, that's all. But we enjoyed it, it's a great activity. So they were nice, the food was expensive, I've never spent so much on food because it was really just supposed to, you know, sort of elegant upscale appetizers, and we weren't able to get champagne, so we bought non-alcoholic champagne and some other refreshments, and everybody certainly enjoyed them. So just saying, it's hard to get catering also that's reasonable when you do that if you're not using the kitchen. So the kitchen has its own constraints, but then you're not using the kitchen, and how do you do it? You have to get it done. So it was great, but still a learning, and we'd like to do it again, maybe continue to do that. What else did I want to mention? Some upcoming events that are special, I suppose, because one of my goals, of course, had been to try to use the back and make more community. You know, the library does something once a week, I think, for the summer weeks.
Yeah, I think they do.
Which turns out is a lot. That's a lot for us to schedule, so we're not doing that. But in addition to the July 1st, July 25th, it's just a serendipitous sort of luck. The Scituate band had one date available where they weren't booked in their schedule, so they were happy to book it here, outdoors, that is outdoors. And so that is a, Friday night, July 25th. And basically, they just set up outside, and patio seating and lawn seating is available for people just to join. Anyone at all. I would say probably the staff will put out water, or, you know, just water. But otherwise, we don't have to do anything. It's just making it available and kind of maybe opening the doors for the bathroom, which is probably nicer than some of the others. But,
Is
so.
it canceled if it rains?
For me, I thought they could come inside if it rained. We'll see, they thought so too. And I think it is just what it is, so if it does rain, I will be on vacation, which was unfortunate, but that was the only date they had. So I think they would be inside unless they wanted to cancel instead. But we couldn't really come up with a rain date. We are doing the end of summer traditional annual concert.
Right before Labor Day.
But not with Billy and the Goats, not with Fred. It is the Brown Brothers, which everybody loves, and they do the parade for us, and that's always so nice. That makes the parade so much better. To march behind them and to ride behind them. So, still hot dogs, baked beans, and the whole works, but it's just a different band. And again, hopefully community. And then the other new thing worth mentioning is that the social wood turners had come to me, and having known a couple of them, and they've been here before doing a demonstration, and we bought the pens from them that you guys received a couple of years ago, the wooden pens.
Yeah.
They did those. So anyway, they came to us saying, well, I was going to ask because I saw that they were doing this in Marshfield. And I thought, oh, I wonder why they're not doing it here. So, but then they did offer to come and do it here. So July 2nd, which is soon, next week, there is a informational session demo for people to just see what it's about. And then there's a monthly class for the next 3 months. They'd only take 6, so 6 could come in July, 6 could come in August, and 6 could come in September, and people could repeat if there were openings, but otherwise you try to keep it available. So that's exciting. That's,
What's the difference between wood carving and wood turning?
well, they use a lathe,
A lathe.
so there is some sort of machine that's used to fashion the wood. I mean, but it's not carving, they don't use a carving tool. And then we've got some nice special lifelong learning opportunities coming up, which of course we've got Bob Jackman's, but another man is doing a multi-week, 4-week session, history and economic challenges for the US. And also, we did bring in, or are bringing in, this live virtual travel for 3 months. So July, August, and September on a Friday morning, it's
Virtual?
live virtual. So there's going to be a young travel guide. I say young only because I met the French one. So July is France, Paris, and she will be on Zoom and talking, literally talking and walking, and people will be able to converse if they want with her, and she will be showing different parts of the city. So Paris in July, Barcelona in August, and I know there's another one,
London?
it's Italy, Rome in September.
Wow.
So, I think that will be fun. And then otherwise, we have both posted and been receiving applications for the assistant director position again. And we will plan on interviewing, we are Hope, Bob, and myself, to start the week of July 14th, just because of vacations. And then we'll go to seconds if we need them. That is my report. Anybody has any questions or thoughts or comments?
Busy.
I know I often do mention some of the activities, so Gail has a report too as well that you have with some of the numbers and just a comparison really of the unduplicated numbers for the last 3 months, May, going back May, April, and March. So pretty, you know what, pretty standard, consistent, not major changes, there's no reason they should be. It'll be interesting, I suppose, to see. The summer has become a little tough with instructor vacations that certainly we plan to manage, but it's just we don't have subs for everything. We have subs for some things. So that might change things a little bit, but otherwise I don't think we're too worried about things being different. Fred does go out on a hip replacement, probably shouldn't say that, which is the end of July. But that's fine, you know, we've done it before, he's got both knees done. Good as new, he'll never retire, because he won't have to.
He was going around at the luncheon asking everybody how everything was.
He does do that, yeah, he loves that. So he's great. He's great, as is Amy. We're very fortunate, you know, we're very fortunate, so. I guess maybe in fitness and exercise, if anybody isn't aware, you know, the most popular programs, I mean, Lift Your Spirits, I suppose with the hand weights, probably gets the prize over balance, but not by a whole lot. They're both very well attended, as is chair yoga. So what we did just do, because it was the first time we actually carried a wait list for chair yoga, we were stuffing everybody in, and they're the most good-natured group ever, because they say, yeah, oh, it's no problem, no problem. I mean, 35 people is a lot in that room.
In that room, yeah.
So, so anyway, Elizabeth is able and willing, and so we're adding back to back, just on Friday, another class. So one is 10 to, 11:15, and one will be 11, quarter to 12. So, sometimes you risk some people will come at 10 and some people might come at 11, and now it splits the class. But it does give opportunity because people are starting to, they come in, they join, they say, oh, I'm interested in chair yoga. Well, nobody's leaving chair yoga, just new people are coming. So that'll offer that. So hopefully it works out. And what else? I mean, all the classes really, except maybe my Tai Chi, I don't know, I'm keeping it up. But it starts, you know, it always sort of starts over every 8 weeks. It's really a 24-week program, but very rarely I have 1 or 2 people that'll make all 24 weeks. I don't know why. It's good for them. Oh, well, Kinsey does it and knows it. I mean, it's, you know.
It's good.
It's good, but it's a commitment, and I do know that, and it's maybe a lot they feel like they're not always getting, and then I think maybe they lose some confidence, but, so I have just restarted another 8 weeks.
Do we expect summer months to be a little smaller?
I mean, I guess we do. We always
Seems
did,
like-
and
seems
they
like
never
now-
did get smaller, but
Right,
I actually
right.
feel like now, because of the clientele we have, I just feel they do get smaller. I can't really explain it, but I do think a little here and there.
Yeah.
And lunches seem to get less competitive, except Thursday.
Well, I guess I should mention, I'm kind of cracking down on lunches a little bit, but nicely, and I know that's a little hard, like Leslie's on the front desk, and, you know, you wanna try to have, well, this is the new policy. If they miss without telling us, it's a no-show, and it's a bummer. And we're trying to stop that. So, the only way to do that is to just say they still owe $5 and can't sign up for another lunch until
Until
it's
they-
almost silly, but yet it's what has to be done, but then everybody has a good, well, this happened, or no, I didn't, I changed it. You know, you hear it all.
Yeah.
And so we are open to the fact that, no, I don't need to take the $5, it's just that I need you to keep track of your attendance. And the other things, because we've heard a couple of times that maybe things are a little, less open, a little cliquey, I didn't want to use that word, but that now, funny enough, and I wanted to say that in the newsletter, but it was too long, so in my letter I didn't say it, but, you know, back when this began, people didn't know each other, and so all the tables were open, and it actually did what it was supposed to do, right? It made connections for people, it was social, and now they have their groups.
Now they only wanna be
And
on
now-
their table.
Exactly, there's no more, and it's a little hard to break in now. Well, it's hard to get a seat,
Yeah.
but then it's also hard to get a table. So I think we need to be a little creative and maybe start playing some games, you know, just to
To
be,
move people around.
to move people
Yeah.
around. Whether, you know, we might just try a couple things just to be fun, but we'll see. Not yet, but I do need to ask that they just remember what it was like when they first started coming, and, you know, it's locked up, you know, that
Yeah.
lunch, they love lunch. Anyway, so that's an aside. So anyway, you can take a look at Gav's report, but, we have had some nice, I will, you know, kudos back in May to Mother's Day, we had Robine Andro, who did a wonderful job telling her story. Of course, she'd written a book, and her mother, really was responsible for protecting them and helping them through that turmoil of the World War II concentration camp that she was in. And she felt, you know, oh, I won't remember it, you know, I don't remember words. She did perfectly, the woman, you know, did wonderfully. So we were lucky to have that. We had another book author come. We had, we had an excellent men's breakfast, but actually it's in June, so she didn't really report the June. May was also nice, which was the police. And it was six of them, I think, at least, maybe 7. And they're just so impressive and so wonderful, you know, a couple women, young guys, a veteran, not a veteran, I shouldn't call him that, because hardly, but older, a little bit older, one of the detectives. So, you know, they do a good job here. We are fortunate in that, and they appreciate being here and talking about what they do, so any questions were open. I think it was educational and nice, and always nice for them to get out into the community,
Yeah.
and for people to trust them, and
Yeah.
to know we have a great force.
Yeah.
And that you could talk to them if you had to.
Yep.
So that's mostly, I think. what we might report there. I also want to mention, so Kelly's report, and I'm sure she put in that she's, well, she's leading a couple of groups, so newcomers, which I think we could expand on, but for now, it's just newcomers to the senior center and just a tour and some Q&A, together. So Kelly manages that most of the time.
I mean, that started very slowly, and it sounds like it's picking up.
It could be. I do think maybe we should do something more social, more meaningful for newcomers, literally, whether it's newcomers to the senior center, newcomers to town,
Yeah.
of a certain age, and just make more opportunity like that later in the day. But this is a good opportunity for them to come in and maybe not feel like they don't know anything when they come to take part in things. Also, the second caregiver support group Kelly is leading, so that's resources for caregivers. Just because she's not a clinician leading, but she is able to provide information and discussion topics, and so it's great, but they did want another opportunity to do that. As well as she's managing a volunteer handyman program. They are volunteers. And we did meet with members, and she does mention it, I forgot to, but we did meet with members of the Friends of South Shore Hospital. And that was because a request had come to us, to me, if we would be willing to host a wellness fair that they do. And I thought, well, sure, that would be fine. And then it was appearing that it wasn't soon that they wanted that to happen. It was closer to when we would be doing our health fair, and I said that.
Yeah, usually it's October.
And then they came up with a model that, well, they've done it in Braintree, and really it was sort of part and parcel, sort of together, that they offered this program. So we talked with them, we liked them, I will say collectively, we all liked them. And the idea that for 1 year it would be a combined effort, that it would be both of us putting on, maybe they're sponsoring it, maybe they're bringing in a lot of their resources, which are good, and just see how that goes, and maybe a little less work for us in terms of putting it all together. So we're giving it a shot. We did have a date previously, and that date didn't work for them, so it's October 3rd, which is a Friday, when we do everything, especially. So we can use the big run. But anyway, I think it will work, and I'm happy about it, so we'll see. And then I do want to mention for Stephanie, so the transportation report, I mean, things are going well. We finally got Rich, our newest driver, who was on ice for a couple of months because we couldn't get him trained. In the past, when classes haven't been available, Gatra has just helped us out and let him go down, let any of them go down, and just done a one-day, one-on-one with them, but they couldn't do that either. Long story short, Stephanie went through MARTAP, which is the training agency, and set it up here so that we did have to wait. It was June 14th on a Saturday here all day, but she did it as the coordinator, which I think was good. You want to know what they're being taught. They have to get certain training every 2 years, mostly every 2 years. So they did it all in one day, so not just part, this training, defensive driving, this training, wheelchair access, this training. They did it all. So all our drivers are currently up to date as of now.
Great.
And our newest driver is on. I have requests, and for a while we needed drivers, but now we don't. So I have a couple who are interested, but really we don't right now really need them, even with Joe's on vacation, but he's back July 10th or something. So that gives us 6 drivers, 6 part-time drivers. So,
That's good.
Yeah.
Usually we're not that strong.
no, it's good to spread it out,
Yeah.
and it allows us to manage the Boston rides or the long rides. She's got my permission, I've been interested, and potentially we could have the money, but Stephanie is looking into a smaller van. Not a van, I don't even want to call it, a smaller vehicle. Potentially a small wheelchair van, but we'll see. I think we should have that because we do a lot of longer rides for just one person. She does very well with managing, let's say they're going to Weymouth or Quincy or both, and trying to combine and do pickups that are orchestrated, but sometimes the single rides in our van, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do that. So that's on the horizon maybe.
Well,
I also wanted to build a garage or something, but I don't know that we'll do that. That was gonna be for the golf cart that we never got.
Maybe build a garage, maybe make it a parking garage.
Yeah, that's a good point. Our third floor parking garage, yeah.
Just
Go around
I
it.
just keep thinking housing, when what we need is a parking lot,
Well,
parking garage.
I know.
transportation is still busy.
Well, I have not heard since the presentation was made about the preliminary housing plan for the Gates building. You know, both Nick and I had asked just to be part of the conversation, so I haven't heard, so I don't know if they've been moving forward with another plan or
Is
what.
it
Or
true
tweaking
that
the
food pantry is gonna move whether or not that,
I mean, I think probably they would, I don't know how long they would have stayed here if they weren't, but they always knew something was going to happen with the
Yeah.
building. They always knew that, so they did always plan.
They've been looking at using one of the schools that is going to be replaced.
I did hear that.
For food pantry?
I don't know if it's viable, if it's good, if it's great, if it's moving forward, but yes,
Okay.
I heard that. Anyway, any questions on the
Yeah.
reports? I know I didn't do them in great detail, but the numbers for everything are steady
Yeah.
and up, and once I look forward now to getting someone else on board who will be managing, coordinating volunteers, since I didn't put it on Gail when she was hired, and I did take it on to try to just stem. It's a lot, so I haven't been doing a great job, it is a lot, and then there's so much more to do with that area, as you know, whether it's intergenerational, there's just a lot we could manage with someone doing not just that, but, and grant help and, you know, building help and just whatnot, there's a lot of just variety that job would
a
entail.
lot of pieces to the
A
puzzle.
lot of pieces. So, that's that.
Great. Anybody have any questions for Linda on outreach, transportation,
Everything.
everything, right? Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Why don't we go to Elaine and Foss?
Sure. We had a very successful presentation of a theatrical production from Delvina, theatrical production company from the North Shore, who came down and did none of this, none of that for us with a two-person interactive play that was phenomenal. It was actually phenomenal. We sold out the tickets. We had made a profit of between $600 and $700, which is really nice. And it was very well received. We've heard nothing but positive remarks since it was held. So we have done that. We just had a quote-unquote special general meeting 2 weeks ago, something like that. Because we were proposing, it needed to be a special meeting to propose an amendment to our bylaws. So we were amending our bylaws for membership, board members to be required to attend at least 50% of FOSS meetings throughout a year. And failure to do that could result in them being removed from the board. So that was approved at the board meeting. We also, at that board meeting, we're looking for ideas as to how to reinvigorate FOSS, because we've been kind of like stagnant in the water since we finished our initial mission, which was to get a new building, which is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. You go look. I don't know if anybody's seen what was the senior center lately.
I have. I was
It's just
thinking of
like-
knocking on the door and saying, can I get a quick tour here?
Well, yeah, it just, I
My
mean,
goodness.
is it a house? Is it residential?
It is, yeah, it looks like.
It looks like it's residential, it is. But it's just,
Yeah,
it's taken,
quite a
how
change.
many years
Yeah,
for them to do that? I mean, how many buyers to go through? I know when it was first, auctioned off, it was quick, but that one fell through and what have you. But anyway, that is checked, and this is just so,
Yes,
Different.
I ride by and look at it and say, there used to be a door there, now it's a window. Or
yeah.
used to be,
It's just,
And where the piano was, there's now gonna be a garage.
yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's just change is change, and we all need to do it. Then next month, 2 weeks from now, we'll have our July meeting, which is the annual July meeting, which we do the financial reporting for the year and have our annual elections, and that's coming up July 17th. We have, as Lucille mentioned, paid for the golf game that the day program is using, or Foss paid for that.
Good purchase.
And we are funding the music for the July 1st.
Next week?
Barbecue party. We're moving forward, but we just need ideas as to how to reinvigorate the membership, which may come with the election.
okay,
Do you meet here?
We meet actually in this room for the election, yeah.
I said, do you meet in this building?
In this
In
room.
this room, we meet in this,
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah.
we meet in this room for our general meet, for all our meetings, for board meetings and general meetings. And we're booked through the end of December. Although we might not use August,
mhm,
but we'll see.
okay, very good.
Any questions?
Any questions for Foss? Thank you, Elaine.
Welcome.
Kenzie, what's been going on in South Shore Elder Services?
More of the same, sadly. We did replace the financial officer because the chief financial officer retired. And consistent with trying to save money and be consistent, the financial officer was promoted from within. A really very talented crew down there. I can't tell you how talented they are and dedicated. State level annual reviews were done last month. And they should be hearing, I would guess, before the end of the state year, that everything is okay, which we're sort of counting on. There were no problems cropping up, so that was good.
I mean, your fiscal goes July 1st to, so
Yeah.
ends next Monday, a couple
Yes.
days from now.
Yes, so, and that's when the state is kicking in with its new process for bringing people onto the at-home programs. And they're going to start a waiting list starting July 1st. So anyone new onto the program, instead of immediately going to the local communities to get spoken to and having intake done, they will go onto a waiting list. And then the state, as of the first of the month, we didn't know how the state is going to replace members who go off services. So whether they'll do it by someone from Scituate goes off the program, someone from Scituate comes on the program, whether they will triage people by how much they need in home services, and then just pick them from wherever. So a person from Scituate then would go off, a person from Quincy could come on. So we don't know how that's going to work yet. They may know by July. I won't know because we're not meeting in July, we're not meeting until August, and nothing has been sent out yet to the board. So that's kind of unsettling because, I mean, from our point of view, we would like one for one.
Yeah.
We
right.
don't want people in Western Massachusetts getting South Shore places, you know? And I'm sure that no matter what the state picks, there will be a huge outcry that it's not whatever isn't picked, you know? But anyway, so that's sort of where they are with that. The state supplemental budget has not been approved, but it's expected to be completed sometime at the beginning of July. So nobody's going to get the monies, the supplemental budget monies, in the same fiscal year that they were allocated. They'll come in the following fiscal year. However, of course, they have to be allocated to programs that were done in the previous fiscal year. So that means that either the organization has to pay for all those programs and then take the money and then replace their own monies, or they have to work out something with the contractors to wait until the money comes
Money's
in.
there.
And that money has strings attached to it, not just when it has to be spent or how it has to be spent, but also in that 75% of it goes to programs, 25% can go to administrative costs. So South Shore can eat the administrative costs until they get the money, but it's expected, fingers crossed, that there'll be enough money to replace the monies that have been already spent on behalf of the people who have received programs. So it's kind of complicated, but when it all comes out in the wash, it should be about the same amount of money that was spent, that the amount of money that will come in from the state for those programs. Now, the federal is at a whole other level. Although they're able to get their money from the feds every day, every week, however they want to draw down the money through the portal, that part is fine. What's not secure is how much money there will be for the next fiscal year, beginning in October. So, so it's not the budget, the president's budget, and has been approved by the House. It has now moved to the Senate where it's in committee. The things that we're most concerned about are Medicaid monies. And at this point, 11 million people could lose their Medicaid coverage. Yeah, and I forget how many billions of dollars, I think it's $8 billion in Medicaid funds would be cut. So that's a huge amount of money. And although we don't have as many people on Medicaid as many of the other states do, the poorer states, the more rural states, we will take a hit. And that hit is probably going to be more in Western Massachusetts than it will be for us, because they have more people on Medicaid than we do in the eastern part of the state. But the monies that will make up the difference all come from the same pot that we'll be getting money from. So we don't know how that's going to work out, how much is going to be lost to Massachusetts, because unlike states like Mississippi that get a high proportion from the feds, we get a lower proportion because we're a wealthier state. So our losses probably won't be as much as their losses will be in terms of per capita, but we'll still have to make it up with state dollars. And whether that's going to come from a rainy day fund or the millionaires fund or wherever, we don't know. And I don't think they know either, you know, because they're kind of winging it right now at the state, trying to figure out what's happening, you know? And as we all know, that they're not that great at figuring things out ahead of time, you know, on the federal level or on the state level. They kind of, I mean, I always feel like everybody at the federal level is just watching behind them all the time to see what's happening. And at the state level, they're just waiting to see what happens at the federal level before they make a commitment. So that's kind of where we are. The other thing we know about the state is that they are making cuts to the ECOP program, which is the in-home services program for people who make too much money to be on the Medicaid side. So there are going to be, we think, substantial cuts to that program, which will be very difficult, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's how much time you have when you have someone that needs care all of the time at home. So that's kind of where we are. If I hear anything, I don't know if you guys are gonna be in July.
No.
Okay, so then we'll be in the same place, because we'll be meeting the first week of August, and I'll have more for you at your August meeting. But really, it doesn't look good. I mean, we all know that. So, I mean, $8 billion is a lot of money, and that's just Medicaid, you know? That doesn't count the money from agriculture for the SNAP program, the food stamp program, or any of the other things that we rely on for in-home services. Or rural hospital, that's the other big thing that they're fighting about now, is the rural hospitals. And we won't be affected as much in the eastern part of the state, but the western part of the state will be affected by that pretty heavily. So we'll just all keep our fingers crossed and call somebody.
Yeah, right.
GATRA, I did attend a virtual GATRA meeting, and I mean, they were discussing some of the same things, because they do get federal funds as well as state for that agency. But yet again, the budget that they're proposing also isn't different yet, so we would be getting the same money that we've been getting.
I mean, that's what you can do really, is you have to say, this is what we want, and this is how we're going to be moving forward until you tell us differently, and then have a plan B, C, D, however many, for what they're actually going to do at the federal level. And it's a 10-year program, so it's not all gonna hit the first year. I mean, they made sure when they moved the program from the House that nothing was going to happen before the elections next year, so that they didn't have to worry about not getting reelected on the strength of, you know, losses in Medicaid, school lunch programs, transportation, food stamps, whatever. So that was pretty strategic on their part.
Political.
But it's still, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So.
How do you like the meetings? Are they,
Theirs?
yes?
They're really informative. I mean, you know, it's not a working board, it's an oversight board. So we only have to worry about certain things. And I'm on the program committee, so I sort of know what's going on with the programming, and that's really good, because those are things that we can move here if they're appropriate. But yeah, it's, you know, like every board, not everybody goes every month. But it's good attendance. And the people who do the reporting to us, we get a financial report every month, because that's part of the big oversight that we have. But they're just very impressive people, and you know when you go there and you meet the people who are actually doing the work, that they've got a great crew, and that we're lucky to have them. And I really enjoy it.
Good.
I really do.
How's it compare to Chicago?
Hmm?
How's it compare to your experience in Chicago?
It's about the same, I would say, in terms of the commitment of people. I mean, Chicago has a neighborhood focus that's really very important and has been there since the beginning for Chicago. So things can be uneven depending on what neighborhood you're in. But overall, yeah, pretty good. Yep.
Great. Thank you. Does anyone have any other business? Old or new? Silence.
Happy Fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've talked about it a couple of different times. Our next previously scheduled meeting would have been July, I wanna say the 10th. I think my recommendation, if unless someone's gonna argue against, would be, since we're 2 weeks away from that, we take our summer respite for July and we'll pick up in August, on August 14th.
Can make a proposal,
I would make that proposal.
I'll second it.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it just feels like, since we were late from this meeting to try to squeeze it in July 10th, doesn't make any sense anyways, and it's summertime in Scituate, so. We'll plan for August 14th is our next board meeting. If no one else has any other business, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, folks.